Hello, my name is Brenda Tesh, and I'm the Marketing and Communications Manager here at MiEnergy Cooperative. We have just a few minutes before the start of the meeting, and as you make your way to your seat, we're going to show a short video that highlights one of our linemen, Steve Bronner. Steve was one of 14 linemen who traveled to Guatemala in mid-June for the purpose of bringing electricity to a rural village in Guatemala.
Once we got there, got our transformer hung, then we were going to start stringing secondary wire to all of the buildings. And then once we got to the buildings, then you go inside and you'd hang a breaker box and pretty much 2 outlets, 2 light switches, 3 or 4 lights, 2 lights inside of a building, and then maybe a couple on the outside. So it's kind of a start to finish type of a thing. Build the primary in, and when we got done, it was turn the light on, the light bulb came on. Every day we would have a meeting and try to get our day laid out for us, who was going to do what or what we were going to tackle, which always started out great, but because of the weather we were dealing with and other obstacles, that would change in a hurry. So the nice thing about it was you got an experienced bunch of guys there who can kind of change on the go and make it work. So we were kind of piecemealing it. Basically what we tried to do is start at the top, and we kept working our way down in towards the village. The road conditions where we were at, it was a pretty rough ride all the way in there. Once we got to where we could see the village, then the path really narrowed down as more of a motorcycle or a horse path, basically just wide enough to barely get our trucks down through there. And once it would start raining, it just turned slippery. Scary slippery. A couple times we pushed it and thought, we'll work a little longer, we'll be fine getting out of here. Probably the most scared I've ever been in a vehicle in my life, getting back out of there. We were trying to push vehicles uphill just to keep them, you couldn't keep them on the road. I think the villagers were excited to have us there. A little reserved, but way more than willing to help or anything we needed. They kind of follow us around. If we needed something, they helped us that way. But yeah, I think they were happy to see us there and what we were doing. I mean, these guys are grabbing wire and going straight down a mountainside, almost on the run, and then up the other side pulling wire out for us. I'd never seen anything like it before. So towards the end of the project, we're down in the village. We'd fired everything up and all of our climbing gears in the village in our bags, and now we're thinking, well, we got to hike out of here up this mountain with all our stuff on our backs. So I saw the guys with the motorcycles there, and hey, I'll give you 20 bucks American if you put my climbing bag on your bike and haul it out of here. Oh yeah, they were all about that. So they hauled out 14 bags. They'd strap them on the motorcycles, and it was muddy. They were pushing them to get them out of there, but by the time we'd hiked out, all of our bags were in the back of the truck waiting for us. So best 20 I ever spent. Living conditions up there in the village, I would say, it was dirt paths. All of the huts were dirt floored. Everything was dirt floored. For the most part, 99% of them were really tidy though. They were swept out, the beds were made, it was neat in there. At one of the huts I was working in, I could hear something. And here comes a hen out from underneath the bed with all of her chicks, and out the door they go. Right now, it's mainly the little boys that go to school. The little girls have to stay with mom and help throughout the day. It's, making their tortillas, getting stuff. So their workload is pretty heavy. Now, just by bringing a little electricity in there, you can get some electric grinders or different things that'll make it easier, a little more free time. Now those girls can go to school as well. I think we gave out, if I'm not mistaken, 32 water filters, or basically a bucket with a filtering system in it so they could run their water through and have some clean water. I can remember at one point sitting in the back of that truck getting beat up and everything we're going through, I thought to myself, I don't think I'd do this again. And then once we got towards the end and you were seeing it come around, or you had some time to sit back and reflect a little bit, I'm like, I'd go in a heartbeat. I'd go back, absolutely.
I think we should give Steve a big hand. We really appreciate him going over and doing that. I don't think he's here tonight, but hopefully he'll get this. So good evening. I'd like to officially call to order the 9th annual meeting of the members of MiEnergy Cooperative. Let me start by welcoming our members, those in person and those viewing on the live stream. It's good to have you with us this evening. Thank you all very much for attending and participating in the business of your local electric cooperative. Tonight, we're following the agenda as approved by the Board of Directors and printed in the annual report. Our business meeting will follow Robert's Rules of Order. We have allocated time for member questions at the end of the President CEO report. Members online can email questions to the annual meeting at mienergy.coop as printed on the screen. And we will limit each question to 2 minutes to allow other members to ask questions. I would also ask that cell phones be muted or turned off, please. It's now my pleasure to introduce Director Ron Stevens. Ron served as Director for District 2, and Ron will give tonight's invocation. Let's bow our heads. Heavenly Father, we come before you today to give you honor and praise. You're worthy of praise. You are the source of all that is good. We thank you for your many abundant blessings. Thank you for every gift that we have been given, the safety of our employees and to our members. We thank you for the opportunity to come and gather together this evening. We ask for your hand of blessing on this meeting. We ask that you guide and direct our meeting so that it is full of wisdom, productivity, and respect for one another. Fill us with your grace, Lord. Give us an assurance of what would please you and what would benefit those who live and work in our communities surrounding MiEnergy. And continue to remind us that all we do today, all we accomplish, is for the pursuit of truth, for the greater joy of you, and for the service of humanity. We ask these things in your name. Amen. Thank you, Director Stevens. I welcome the opportunity to lead the membership in recognizing this great country in which we live and in those serving in the armed forces, protecting our freedom. Would everyone please stand and help me exhibit our support by saying the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice.
Thank you. At this time, I would like to introduce Secretary Dennis Potashik to read the meeting notice and the proof of mailing. Dennis?
Good evening, everyone. I, Dennis Potachik, serve as the Secretary of MiEnergy Cooperative and report that the notice of the April 23rd, 2025 annual meeting was mailed to each member of the cooperative. This notice was included in our members' March 2025 monthly electric bills, and again in the cooperative's annual report delivered to the United States Post Office on April 8th, 2025. Thank you.
Thank you, Dennis. Based on the number of members in attendance tonight and the numbers of members voting in our director elections, I declare there is a quorum present and all the requirements as stated in the bylaws have been met. At this time, I would like to introduce our board of directors, our CEO, and our attorney. If I'd ask them to please stand and remain standing when I call your name. From District 1, Dennis Potashik is our secretary from Elma, Iowa. And the seat formerly held by Jeffrey Dallin is currently vacant. District 2 is Ron Stevens, our vice chair from Preston, Minnesota. And Ron also serves on the Minnesota Rural Electric Association board. And myself, Dean Neerling from Decorah, Iowa. In District 3 is Donald Peterson, our treasurer from Hoka, Minnesota, and Skip Weiser from La Crescent, Minnesota. In District 4, Kyle Holthouse from Waukon, Iowa, and Carl Reichs from New Hampton, Iowa. District 5 is Beth Olson from Lewiston, Minnesota, and Jenny Sharmer from Winona, Minnesota. Jenny is also our Dairyland Power Cooperative Director and their board chair. Our CEO and president is Brian Crambier. And our legal counsel consists of Denny Puckett from Sullivan and Ward. Let's give these all a round of applause. Director Don Peterson will introduce our guests in attendance tonight at our meeting.
If you would stand when I announce your name, please. First, I'd like to name the past directors. Alan Arswald, Dennis Young, Chuck Frana, Roger Hagelin, and Neil and Janelle Marr. Then I'd like to announce a board member on the board of directors from Elma Key Clayton, Jerry Kelleher. He's also our state rep in Iowa. Then my broadband directors that are present are Dave Sequitney and Julie Koka. And we have one retired employee here, Susie Magnuson. We appreciate your time and interest in MiEnergy Cooperative. Thanks for attending our members' annual meeting and being good friends of the cooperative.
Thanks, Don. Everyone received a copy of the 8th annual meeting minutes in the annual report. It would be in order if someone would move to dispense with the readings and accept them as presented if there are no questions. We have a motion. Is there a second? Second. And a second. All in favor, say aye. Opposed, nay. Motion carried. Thank you. I would like now to introduce John Botten, Nominating Committee Chair, to provide the report from the Nominating Committee.
The nominating committee consists of myself, John Botten, chairman, Norbert Hackman, Michael E. Meyer, Keith Sterland, Lucy McMartin, secretary, and Dave Erickson. The committee met on January 22nd, 2025 at the MiEnergy Cooperative office in Rushford, Minnesota. The nominating committee then reviewed the 5 applications that had been received for consideration for the 2 director seats representing District 4 and the 2 applicants that had been received for consideration for the 2 director seats representing District 5. The nominating committee hereby selected the following director candidates for consideration by the membership for election at the MiEnergy Cooperative Annual Meeting held on April 23rd, 2025. For a 3-year term for the District 4 Director, seat number 1, Kyle Holtenhaus, incumbent, Larry Linfeld, Steve DeMuth. For the 3-year term for Director 4, seat number 2, Kyle Rakes and Lois Bukait. For a 3-year term for the District 5 seat, number 1, Jenny Sharmer, incumbent. For the 3-year term for the District 5 Director, seat number 2, Beth Olson, incumbent. Thank you on the behalf of the nominating committee.
Thank you, John. I now introduce Skip Weezer, who will introduce the candidates that were presented to the board or to the election.
Thank you. I would like to introduce your director candidates. I would ask the candidates to stand and remain standing until all the candidates in the district have been announced. The candidates for director of District 4, seat number 1 are Kyle Holthouse of Waukon, Iowa. Kyle is a farmer and aftermarket manager at Windridge Implements. He has been a member of the cooperative for 27 years. Kyle has served on MiEnergy's board since 2022. Steve DeMuth of Decorah, Iowa. Steve is a retired technology executive at Mayo Clinic. He has been a member of a cooperative for 42 years. Larry Littlefield of Decorah, Iowa. Larry is a co-owner and president of Geothermal Eco Options. He has been a member of a cooperative for 18 years. Thank you, Kyle, Steve, and Larry. The candidates for director of District 4, seat 2 are Carl Reichs of New Hampton, Iowa. Carl is a beef and crop farmer. He has been a member of a cooperative for 32 years. Carl has served on the MiEnergy board since 2010. Lois Bukait of Lauer, Iowa. Lois and her husband Bruce farm near Protivin, Iowa. She has been a member of a cooperative for 32 years. Thank you, Carl and Lois. The candidates for director of District 5 are Jenny Sharmer of Winona, Minnesota. Jenny owns and operates a small business and a hobby farm. She has been a member of a cooperative for 34 years. Jenny has served on the MiEnergy board since 2006. Beth Olson of Lewiston, Minnesota. Beth is a retired dairy farmer and currently crop farms 400 acres with her husband. She has been a member of a cooperative for 43 years and has been on the MiEnergy board since 2012. Thank you, Jenny and Beth.
Thank you, Skip. I now ask our treasurer, Don Peterson, to provide the financial report for us.
Thank you, Dean. I am presenting your cooperative's financial overview for the year 2024. The financials were also mailed to you in your annual report. Total assets increased $13.8 million to $239.8 million. Liabilities increased by $10.9 million to $155.6 million. We ended 2024 with equity of $84.2 million, which is 35% of total assets. Operating revenues were $80.3 million, an increase of $1 million. Operating expenses for 2024 were $79.4 million, an increase of $2.9 million from 2023. 2024 margins were $5 million, a decrease of $1 million from 2023. The cooperative met all financial requirements of the lenders. Capital credit payments totaled $2 million in 2024. Cumulative capital credit payments for MiEnergy Cooperative, Tri-County Electric, and Hawkeye REC are $71.6 million. On February 17, 2025, our auditor, Ide Bailey, issued MiEnergy Cooperative an unqualified opinion in their audit. This means that the financial statements fairly represent, in all material respects, the financial position of MiEnergy Cooperative as of the year ending December 31st, 2024. It is not necessary to approve the financial report since the financials were audited by the independent auditing firm and received a favorable report. Thank you.
Thanks, Don. This time I would like to introduce our attorney, Denny Puckett, to discuss our director elections. Denny?
Thank you. Good evening. It's a pleasure to be here to help conduct the business portion of the meeting and particularly the director election. The directors have previously been introduced. The bylaws provide for a board consisting of 10 directors, 2 from each of 5 districts. You'll see on the screen the map of the 5 districts. This year, the terms of directors from districts 4 and 5 are expiring, so the northern and southern areas. So we're holding an election for those 2 districts. And the members in those districts are the ones who would have received a ballot and had the opportunity to vote in the election process. The election process, as you might guess, since we've already heard from the nominating committee, begins with the nominating committee being appointed, and the nominating committee nominates the candidates. There is a process for nominations by petition. There were no nominations by petition this year. The candidates have already been introduced, and the ballots have already been cast. You members had an opportunity to cast their ballots by mail. They could have voted electronically, or some chose to bring their ballot and cast their ballot tonight. I received the certified election results from Survey and Ballot Systems, which is the third party that's engaged to handle the mail-in and electronic ballots. And the teller committee assisted me in counting the ballots that were cast here tonight to add those to the previous results. The candidates receiving the highest number of votes from each seat are to be elected for a term of 3 years. And please announce the winning candidates were as follows. In district number 4, seat number 1, Kyle Holthaus. In district number 4, seat number 2, Carl Reichs. District number 5, seat number 1, Jenny Sharmer. District number 5, seat number 2, Beth Olson. So congratulations to the winners, and I want to thank the other nominees for their willingness to stand for election. Thank you. So in addition to the election of directors this year, we have another announcement to make concerning board member Jeffrey Redallen, who had passed away in November of 2024. That created a vacancy in district number 1. The bylaws provide that a vacancy is to be filled by the affirmative vote of the remaining directors to serve the balance of the term of the director that they succeed. The vacancy was announced to the membership, and interested individuals were invited to submit applications. There were multiple applications submitted, and the board interviewed the interested individuals. Following the interviews, the board elected to select Kim Nelson from Spring Valley to fill the vacancy. I think Kim is here, so maybe he wants to stand. Kim will be officially seated to the MiEnergy board meeting scheduled for tomorrow, at the MiEnergy board meeting scheduled for tomorrow. He will serve the balance of Jeff's term, which will be until the annual meeting to be held in 2026, at which time there will be an election. So congratulations to Kim on becoming a member of the board of directors, and my condolences to the family of Jeffrey Riddell on his passing.
Thanks, Denny, and Kim, welcome to the board. I think you're going to enjoy it as much as the rest of us do, so glad to have you. This time, we'd like to take a moment to remember former Director Jeff Riddell. I'll ask CEO Brian Crambier to provide the recognition on behalf of the board and the employees.
Thank you, Dean. Jeff passed away unexpectedly on November 24th, 2024. Jeff served on the rural electric boards of Tri-County Electric Cooperative, Darrellin Power Cooperative, the Minnesota Rural Electric Association, and MiEnergy. As a cooperative director, he was involved in many critical decisions of this co-op, including the flood recovery of 2007, the new office locations in Rushford, and our outpost building in Preston. Jeff was also part of the creation of MiEnergy and served on the board during the Southern Minnesota Energy Cooperative acquisition. Jeff was a tremendous cooperative advocate. In honor of Jeff, we would like to present a meter lamp to Jeff's family. And Jeff's wife, Michelle, is here tonight. We'd ask Michelle to please come down and our condolences, but thank you for sharing Jeff for all these years, Michelle.
Oh, okay. So where do you want me?
Just right here.
I just want to say a few words that Jeff would be very honored for this recognition. I wish he was here to be recognized himself, and it wasn't in these circumstances. He loved the board. He loved working with Tri-County for all you do. He loved the people. He loved the staff. I just wish he was still here with us. So I'm honored to be here, speaking for him. Thank you.
Okay, at this time, we'll hear the report from our CEO, Brian Crambier. Brian?
Thank you, Dean. Good evening. The theme of this year's annual meeting is America's Electric Co-ops, unmatched and different by design. You've heard me talk about electric co-ops are different than investor-owned utilities. In 1935, the IOUs were unwilling to extend electric service beyond the more populated towns because it wasn't profitable. And the reason why we created the rural electric co-ops through the Rural Electrification Administration. The REA was officially signed on May 11th, 1935 by FDR. And we're coming upon the 90th anniversary. And I believe it's one of the most successful government programs of this last century. You may not have known, but there are over 800 electric distribution co-ops like MiEnergy in the United States. You may not realize that America's electric co-ops provide electric service to 56% of the land mass in the United States. There are also 64 generation and transmission cooperatives like our power supplier, Dairyland Power Cooperative. Of these 800 electric distribution co-ops, the average size has about 15,000 members, and they average about 7 members per mile of line for system density. Across the United States, there are several smaller electric co-ops, and there's some really large electric co-ops that serve over 250,000 members. There's an old saying, if you've seen one electric co-op, you've seen one electric co-op. Despite the vast number of electric co-ops, every electric co-op is unique, independent, and unmatched in their own way. Tonight, I want to inform you how MiEnergy is unmatched and different by design. The uniqueness of your electric co-op, even when compared to others in our industry, is unmatched. MiEnergy is a relatively new co-op created in 2017 when Tri-County Electric Cooperative and Hawkeye REC merged. We have 75 total employees, 43 substations, over 5,500 miles of electric distribution line, 23,500 meters, 19,300 members. We also have offices in two states, Rushford, Minnesota, and Cresco, Iowa, and 2 outposts in Caledonia and Preston. We also have 10 meters that serve 10 wholesale cities. Our 2 largest loads are our 2 ethanol plants. And we have a density of less than 4 members per mile of line, less than the national average. As I mentioned, we serve 10 wholesale cities. This falls into the different by design. Very few electric distribution co-ops serve municipals, and it's a credit to our partnership with Dairyland Power Cooperative. In fact, I think we may be the only electric co-op that has 10 wholesale cities in the United States. These are our wholesale cities: Caledonia, Eitzen, Harmony, Lanesboro, Lawler, Mabel, Preston, Rushford, Spring Grove, and St. Charles. MiEnergy is governed by a 10-member board of directors, elected by the membership and elected by district. This is unique among co-ops. Our board is made up of members, not investors in far-off locations. The decisions that they make also affect them as members of the co-op. With the passing of Director Ridallen, the board had an opportunity to reduce the size of the board to 9, to have an odd number. Odd numbers are pretty common with board of directors. But the board made the decision to continue to have 10. So each district has 2 representatives. I recall hearing a director comment that 10 directors works very well. And if the vote is so divided that we don't get a majority, I think we better rethink the issue that we're voting on. Our membership base is primarily residential, like most electric co-ops. But MiEnergy has some very good diversification with our wholesale cities and our large and small commercial accounts. Last fall, one of our lenders, the Cooperative Finance Cooperative, provided us with a key ratio trend analysis. I'm going to go through a few graphs that compare us to 3 different groups of electric co-ops. MiEnergy compared to all the electric co-ops, MiEnergy compared to electric co-ops in the state of Minnesota and Iowa, and MiEnergy compared to other distribution co-ops that are very similar to our size. As you can see in this first graph, we're larger than the average electric co-op. MiEnergy is represented in this graph in the blue, or Minnesota 32, which is our official RUS number. Cooperatives across the U.S. are represented with the purple line, and the state of Minnesota is the yellow line. In Iowa, where the average electric co-op is just over 5,000 members, and in Minnesota, it's just under 10,000. MiEnergy has a lot of electric distribution line, over 5,500 miles of line. It's as God country, with hills, valleys, bluffs, and farm fields. Iowa's electric co-op averaged just 2,000 miles of line. In Minnesota electric co-ops, they average 3,200. We lose in the density battle at less than 4 members per mile of line. The average co-op our size has 7 members per mile of line. We're on the bottom of the lower quartile of electric co-ops nationwide. We are rural. I can only imagine a density of 9 members per mile of line that would more than double our co-op size and double our revenue. Looking at how we are staffed and comparing our numbers to employees and others in the industry, we have a few more employees than other electric co-ops our size. But remember, we have more than double the miles of electric line than the average electric cooperative. We have more employees to take care of our larger electric system. So how do we compare in energy sales? We're on the top end of the chart with selling nearly 650 million kilowatt hours annually. Again, our wholesale cities and our large electric loads account for the strong numbers. But I also want you to notice the limited growth in energy sales. At MiEnergy, at Minnesota, and in Iowa's electric co-ops, it's stagnant. That leads us into the next slide, comparing our annual growth in members. We're also losing ground on the growth of new members. Again, we are below the lower quartile nationwide. But even the top quartile is less than 2% growth. We are not seeing sustained growth at MiEnergy. This slide shows the declining annual growth in kilowatt hour sales. It's a trend for MiEnergy and all electric co-ops in Minnesota, Iowa, and across the nation. This graph highlights utility plant investment. To maintain our system reliability, MiEnergy continues to reinvest in our utility plant infrastructure. Our investments are again greater than average because our 5,500 miles of electric distribution line. Let's now look at SAIDI. SAIDI means the acronym for System Average Interruption Duration Index. It's a measurement showing the average outage duration each member is served. We do really well, much better than the average. We average 63 minutes or just over an hour, versus the average electric co-op, it's about 5 hours. Capital credits are an important pillar of being a member-owned co-op. MiEnergy returns capital credits back to its members. MiEnergy has consistently retired high levels of capital credits for decades. And this slide shows that our cumulative capital credits paid back are much higher than both the national average and co-ops our size. We are well above even the top quartile in capital credit retirements. TIER. TIER is an important metric for your electric co-op, and it's one of our federal loan covenants. TIER stands for Times Interest Earned Ratio. It's how much margin we earn to repay our cooperative debt. In our case, for 2023, we had a 2.6 TIER, so we could pay our long-term debt expenses 2.5 times. The minimum TIER allowed by the Rural Utility Service is 1.25. Our margins have consistently met all the requirements, but they've been below average, but by design, and we budget for those benchmarks. Our cooperative equity was 36% in 2023, and as noted in the Treasurer's report, it's 35% in 2024. It's on the lower side consistently, and it reflects our large investments in plant, borrowing a lot of money for electric distribution lines, the higher return of capital credits, and maintaining a competitive electric rate. We're also building out our broadband network. We can increase our equity just by increasing our TIER, by raising the margin, by increasing electric rates. But to mitigate rate increases, we balance our operating budget and our financial ratios very carefully. We're balancing system reliability, affordability, and being sustainable. This graph highlights our blended interest rate. Our blended cost of borrowing is just over 3%. We've done a very good job of managing our lending portfolio with some of the lowest cost financing of electric co-ops across the country. So how do controllable expenses per member compare to others? It's above average. But again, it's impacted by the 5,500 miles of distribution line, the vegetation management that's associated with that, employees, power costs, and maintaining the favorable condition of our electric system. In looking at controllable expenses per kilowatt hour sold, MiEnergy is lower than nearly all electric co-ops in the country. And finally, our largest expense is wholesale power costs. Over 60% of MiEnergy's total operating expense are wholesale power costs from Darylin Power Cooperative, who has done an outstanding job of maintaining reliability and minimizing these increases. Our power costs are some of the lowest in the Darylin system. We're looking forward to seeing more savings in the future because 10 years ago, we added 2,500 members to our system as part of the Southern Minnesota Energy Cooperative purchase of Alliant Energy's territory. In July, we'll end our 10-year wholesale power contract with Alliant Energy, and this load will move to Darylin Power Cooperative for a savings. Unmatched certainly describes your electric co-op when looking inside the numbers. But there's even more criteria that makes us unique. And I think you'll agree, there are none quite like MiEnergy Cooperative. While there are over 800 electric co-ops in the United States, there are 24 electric co-ops that are member owners of Darylin Power. Darylin is our generation and transmission cooperative. They generate the power and transmit it to our substations, where we take it from there, utilizing our distribution lines to deliver it to your homes, farms, and businesses. MiEnergy is currently their largest member in energy sales. While Darylin Power Cooperative provides the majority of our electric energy, they do allow us to purchase a percentage of our power outside of our contract. MiEnergy is different by design in that it has purchase power agreements for 9 megawatts of solar, which is about 7.5% of the 120 megawatts that we use. These grid-scale solar projects consist of 4 facilities that connect directly to our Fountain, Rushford, Peterson, and Stockton substations. The on-peak, or cost per kilowatt hour on-peak, is less than the cost of Darylin. In over 10 years, we estimate it will save over $3 million to our cooperative. We're working to add another 5 megawatts at our Caledonia substation. We're working with the Houston County Commissioners on establishing a policy to balance agriculture production, landowner rights, and renewable energy production. Houston County has placed a solar moratorium on utility-scale solar projects at this time. We're optimistic to find a balance to make our Caledonia project successful. MiEnergy is unmatched when it comes to member-owned generation. At the end of 2024, we had over 1,000 members who installed their own distributed generation solar system at their homes, farms, and businesses. MiEnergy is a leader in Iowa and Minnesota with its policies and in our rate design for having member interest in installing solar generation. Our member-owned generation totals 20 megawatts of member-owned generation. For 2025, we've estimated that we'll pay out over $775,000 to members that overgenerate from their solar system. We're required by law in Minnesota to purchase the energy members don't use, and we must purchase this energy at the retail electric rate. This is much more expensive than what we pay Darylin Power as part of our wholesale contract, and it's also more expensive than our grid-scale solar as part of our purchase power agreements. The overgeneration from the net metering requirements increases our overall wholesale power costs. Keep in mind that we support the personal decisions our members make when it comes to solar. This is what also makes us very different by design. Our retail rate design separates delivery of electric service from energy or kilowatt hour costs. This is why our basic service charge is higher and our kilowatt hour costs are lower. This important action was taken by the board of directors several years ago, because it provides fairness between members, members that install solar and members that do not. Again, it's a fairness issue. I'd state tonight that if you're considering solar, I'd encourage you to contact our office and speak with Audra or Kent. They can provide members what we call a solar assessment. It can give you an idea of the size system that you would need, along with the details on our policies and the procedures of connecting your system to the grid. MiEnergy's website also has materials that are helpful to members interested in solar generation. MiEnergy has also served as a liaison between our area school districts and the State of Minnesota Solar for Schools program. The Solar for Schools program has awarded 7 projects with grants, averaging 90% of the individual project costs in our service territory. School districts that have been awarded including Caledonia, Houston, Lewiston, Altura, Mabel, Canton, Rushford, Peterson, and Spring Grove. I would also note that Dairyland Power Cooperative supported our actions in supporting these schools and worked on an arrangement so our municipals and MiEnergy did not lose our annual revenue from these lost sales. To date, MiEnergy is closing in on 50% renewable in nameplate capacity. We by far exceed national projections and are doing it with the objective of lowering our wholesale power costs. We also have an unmatched workforce. There's an extremely dedicated and talented group of employees at MiEnergy, and the creation of MiEnergy has become a tremendous asset as we combined resources from 2 electric co-ops and we embrace the continued retirements of baby boomers from the workforce. Having employees that continue to improve their skills through proper training and education ensures MiEnergy is well positioned in the future. Utilizing drone technology for outage prevention is just one example of how electric co-ops provide unmatched service to our members. We have 8 employees that actually have drone pilot licenses. We're seeing great benefits in utilizing drones with infrared scanning. Here's a shot of a failing hotline clamp and a cracked insulator identified from drone footage of a distribution line. Investing in technology has helped our employees discover issues before an actual outage even occurs. MiEnergy's broadband partnership is also unmatched among electric co-ops. Well, there are about 200 electric co-ops working to deploy fiber across the country. There's very few that have partnered with 2 independent communication cooperatives. Back in 2018, when this partnership was formed, it was unprecedented news in our industry. Myself and my broadband CEO, Jill Huffman, have given numerous presentations across the United States on our broadband success in southeastern Minnesota and in northeastern Iowa. This partnership has been very successful in attaining 4 federal Reconnect grant loans, several Minnesota border-to-border broadband awards, and several Iowa broadband awards. The partnership is investing critical infrastructure in southeastern Minnesota and northeastern Iowa that will enhance the operation of MiEnergy's electric distribution system in the future. It will also improve the quality of life of our members in unserved and underserved areas. It will also enhance the economic attractiveness of our service territory for businesses to start, expand, and new families to come move into our service territory. It's interesting to me when you look at similarities of broadband to the early days of rural electrification. Just like 1935, it's again the rural, low-density areas that do not have reliable broadband. This is a tremendous undertaking and one that takes a tremendous investment in infrastructure. But just like the electric service in the countryside back in 1935, if we don't do it, who will? Being a co-op, we're also unmatched in our commitment to our communities and the well-being of our membership. We are a leader in economic development. Over the years, we've provided over $13.9 million in loans and grant resources across our service territory. We will continue our strong economic development focus in the future. MiEnergy is also unmatched in its investment in future leadership. For 2025, MiEnergy will be awarding 80 $1,000 scholarships to area high school students that are continuing their education. The funding for this program comes from unclaimed capital credits, and I'm not aware of any business that awards this many scholarships, and this is a tremendous reinvestment in the youth for future in their education. MiEnergy is also different by design in how we address decisions made by our elected officials. Your co-op isn't Democrat or Republican. We work with representatives on both sides of the aisle to better educate them on the issues that affect our ability to serve you, our members. Legislation can influence our operating costs. Just last year, the 100% Clean Energy Initiative by 2040 was passed in Minnesota. This year in Minnesota, we're working on a property tax reform and removing the nuclear moratorium. We're also looking to reform the state's net metering law to be like MiEnergy's. In 2022, MiEnergy surpassed the 4% threshold for net metering. And systems are now sized to load, which is working out well for members, the co-op, and local solar installers. It's also enabled more members to install solar. We're also opposed to any mandates that come out of the Minnesota legislature this session. In Iowa, we're working to protect defined electric service territory boundaries. We are not supportive of virtual net metering, nor are we supportive of third-party solar. We're working with Senator Clemish on a solar siting bill, but this may be a next year's item, and we're making sure that eminent domain legislation distinguishes the difference between a pipeline and an electric transmission line. We're also supportive of Governor Reynolds' energy legislation. On the federal side, there remains a lot of unknowns. We were very pleased to recently hear continued support for Dairyland Power Cooperative's $570 million IRA and PACE grants. This was terrific news. We're also supportive of permitting reform with the EPA. It's been very, very difficult to build anything the past few years. We have underground distribution lines that have waited over 2 years for approval, and we're still waiting for approval. We're also supportive of the Rural Utility Services Program under USDA. So you may be asking, what's next? Where are we going? Well, we all have challenges before us, and at MiEnergy, we need to continue to focus on retaining talent and recruiting new employees. We have more employee retirements on the horizon, and we need to continue our success with succession planning. We need to grow. We need new members. We need businesses. We need to increase energy sales. And I want to again reference the lack of growth for our electric co-op. We need to grow for our future success. That's why we're engaged in economic development. We're building out broadband, and we're helping our communities grow. Another opportunity we are pursuing is a data center type business. It ties very well into positive revenue opportunities for electricity and broadband. We believe we have a tremendous opportunity to locate a facility in MiEnergy's service territory with the support of our power supplier, Dairyland Power Cooperative. Data centers use a lot of energy. They add property tax value, and they provide technical jobs. We're fortunate that our power provider, Dairyland Power Cooperative, is in a very unique opportunity to help support us on this important initiative. Canadian tariffs on electricity? This is not one of those challenges at this time. I received more calls on Canadian tariffs the month of March than I did the change in our electric rates. MISO, the Midwest Independent System Operator, purchases less than 1% of its energy from Canada. I would also like to address our recent rate increase and our rate adjustment. You've all received your notice of the change in your March electric bill and the March newsletter. Financial projections in 2024 projected a 4% rate increase, but really good planning In 2024, we were able to overcome that revenue shortfall. In 2025, we were not able to overcome that shortfall in our operating budget. For 2025, we had very little increase in our revenue. Inflation from the past 2 years has been up to 18% on materials. So as an example of its impact, a 2020 $10 million work plan is now a $14.8 million work plan. Material, labor, insurance, interest expense, cybersecurity, IT, it's all increased. With the rate adjustment, MiEnergy continues to maintain its core values: reliability, affordability, and sustainability. We continue to invest in vegetation management at $2.4 million this year. We're developing our next work plan. We're investing in technology, fiber build-out, and we're continuing our renewable energy projects. They all continued in that 2025 budget. MiEnergy's electric rates also remain very competitive. All, and I do mean all, of our neighboring electric utilities, co-ops, and investor-owned utilities are having rate adjustments this year. Some of them are even double-digit. So tonight, we highlighted the ways that we are unmatched and different by design. I hope you've taken note that we punch above our weight class among electric co-ops. We have low density. We have a lot of miles of line to maintain and operate. We have higher costs to deliver service due to our rural landscape, and we have a greater total utility plant to invest in. We need more employees to operate our system. Yet, we have favorable wholesale power costs. We have competitive retail electric rates, even lower than our IOU neighbors. We have a reliability rating or outage rates better than our peer group. We have excellent facilities and resources. We've delivered consistent financial performance and achieved a greater economies of scale in creating MiEnergy. We have excellent employees and an excellent and an engaged board of directors. And thankfully, we have an unmatched membership support. Thank you. We'll continue to focus on our strategic planning initiatives that include continuing to enhance our safety culture, broadband expansion across the MiEnergy service territory, strengthen our communities and our engagement. We'll explore electric load growth that includes new services, business expansion, residential developments, and new businesses, including data centers. We'll look for new partnership opportunities that include expanding even our existing partnerships. So strong leadership is essential to MiEnergy cooperative success. At the beginning of the meeting, we introduced our great board of directors. I'm very blessed to work with a tremendous group of employees. My management team also deserves some special recognition tonight, and I'd like to take this opportunity to introduce them. Shelley Hope is our Chief Financial Officer and Vice President of Administration. Jill Huffman is our Broadband Chief Operating Officer. Steve Oyen is our Vice President of Electric Operations. Mike Walton is our Vice President of Engineering and System Planning. Vasil Vutov is our Vice President of Information Technology. Kent Whitcomb is a Vice President of Member Services. Heather Larson is our Executive Administrative Assistant. June Vitzi is our Director of Payroll and Human Resources. And Brad Pesanovsky is our Compliance and Training Coordinator. And Brenda Tesh is our Manager of Marketing and Communications. This is a tremendous leadership team that provides a great deal of support for operating your electric co-op. I also want to give a shout out to Pete tonight for managing the home link and for putting this all on to make sure that everything works. So thank you, Peter. Our focus is reliability, it's affordability, and it's sustainability. And those three words also reflect in our co-op's mission statement. So I would again like tonight to thank you for participating in your electric co-op's annual meeting and for your cooperative support. Thank you all very much. At this time, I would ask if there are any questions from the membership. Got one in the back there.
1 second, I'll get you the microphone. If you have any questions, if you can stand up, go to the end of the aisle, and then I'll come to you with the microphone.
Is there any possibility that the Genoa nuclear plant would be operational again with that new modular nuclear possibility plant being developed now?
That's a great question. And I really stressed, probably not enough tonight, that Darylyn Power is doing a tremendous job for us in managing our wholesale power costs. And they are out looking at all the opportunities that are coming forth in the future. That site is very attractive for several reasons. One, it has the transmission interconnect already there. But again, Darylyn's looking at all of the above energy generation resources, and they're looking at small modular nuclear as an opportunity. That's one of the reasons why in Minnesota we're trying to eliminate the moratorium, because Minnesota is not even on the map if that would be an opportunity in the future. Wisconsin is, and I think Iowa could be an opportunity in addition to Illinois. So I'd say everything is on the table, but it's mainly because of that interconnect on that old Genoa site that makes it attractive. Would that be appropriate? I'm looking to my Darylyn director and the board chair of that board, and she confers. So I think we're pretty close. So, all right. Thank you. Other questions? Oh, you want the clicker? Okay.
Yeah, you mentioned, of course, that our cooperative is a distribution setup. We're not a power generator, except for some of the solar. But you didn't mention anything about energy storage and batteries. And I mean, that's the coming trend. Obviously, distribution, that's a little tricky, but there's load sharing, there's load shaving, there's also the possibility of rolling, sharing, shaving, et cetera, with the computer technology. So what's on the horizon for our cooperative with the batteries?
Great question again. You are correct. We have 9 megawatts of solar, but we don't have any batteries. We made application under the PACE program to see if we could get one, but our application wasn't awarded. We've also looked at them just to see if we could affordably do that without a grant. And it really pushes the payback out to about 18 years. So it really limits us. But to your point, one of the reasons why we have some of the lowest wholesale power costs in the Darylyn system is because of our peak shaving, which you referenced. Load management, controlling load, and operating generators during those peak periods. That is what really improved what we call as a load factor that has really enhanced and lowered our wholesale power costs. But to your point on a battery, I'm hoping next year there may be an opportunity that I might even be able to show you a picture of a battery and a small solar array that's in MiEnergy system, and we've got a call tomorrow to see if we can make this thing happen. So appreciate that feedback, and exciting things happening, and they're changing daily. So we'll see what happens there. Thank you. All right. Well, I will be around afterwards, and so will some of the other directors. I'm sure you guys are itching to grab some more kolaches there. But again, I want to thank you on behalf of MiEnergy, and I'll turn it over back to Chairman Neerling.
Okay, thank you, Brian, and thanks for the questions too. It's always good to have questions and hear the answers that we get. There was no old or unfinished business from the last meeting. Is there any new business for tonight? There is no further business. I hereby declare this annual meeting of MiEnergy Cooperative adjourned. Thank you all very much for attending and being a part of your electric cooperative annual meeting. We will now conduct our door prize drawings. For those watching online, please see the screen for instructions on how to enter for a prize.